Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Mr. Chaotic Dude, formerly known as The Utter Chaos, back to make another video. This time I'm doing a top 5 list of my favorite films of 2014. Now on a personal level, 2014 wasn't the best. A lot of things happened that were really stupid and bad, but movie-wise, 2014 was really good. We had a lot of not only good movies but great movies. Like, I was pretty astonished when I was going back through the list here on the internet to see what was released in 2014 to make this list, and I was freaking astonished at how not only how many good movies were made but how many great movies were made. Like, that's got to be some kind of record. But regardless, rambling aside, onto the list. So ranking in at number 5 on the list, we have John Wick starring Keanu Reeves. Now, based on the trailers for John Wick, it was kind of misleading because of the fact that the motivation that just the way they set it up looked really stupid. And then I saw the movie and I was really taken aback by how well done it was. I mean, for an action movie, it's pretty emotional, honestly, and I was really surprised at that. And on the subject of action, the action was really damn good. I mean, in an age where action films are polluted with shaky cam and just this terrible choreography when it comes to fighting, John Wick really surprised me. I mean, genuinely. I mean, granted, the action's not mind-blowing or anything, but it's just like a can of Febreze on a pile of crap. Like, it's just a breath of fresh air at this point, seriously. We really needed it as far as action films go, so that's why John Wick ranks at number 5. So, at number 4, we have the epic conclusion to the Hobbit trilogy, The Battle of Five Armies. Now, I saw this film with a couple of friends. Some of you may recognize them as Mr. Bomber and T. Quentin 1. I saw this movie with them among some other people, and I had a blast being there, so I don't know how much of that experience is going to rub off into my actual rating of the film. Probably a lot, but regardless, I still enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I mean, I was a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and I really love the Hobbit trilogy. And I was one of the few people who was actually for them turning it into a trilogy, because even though the book's relatively short, it's told in a weird order. Like, it's told in a weird order, and a lot of stuff happens, so I was totally for them making 3 movies out of it. But regardless, the third movie is here. The second one was amazing. So does the third one rank up in my opinion? It does, honestly. Is it as good as the second one? I don't know, but it's good. That's all that really matters. So just the sense of finality here was really good. I loved the way they set it up, the characters, all that good stuff. Set up really well. I really dug the hell out of it, honestly, and the action was fantastic. They used a little bit too much CG, in my opinion, but that's just coming from the fact that there was this really good blend of practical and CG effects in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so maybe it's just because I'm really for that. But regardless, that aside, I really dug the hell out of the Hobbit trilogy, and the third one especially was just fantastic. So that's why the Hobbit Battle of Five Armies ranks in at number 4. At number 3, we have the disturbing yet so emotional Snowpiercer. Now, when I heard the summary for Snowpiercer, I was skeptical, to say the least, because when you hear the concept of we have a movie about a group of poor people taking back a train from they live in the back and they're going all the way to the front to take it back from the rich people that are in the front. You hear that concept, you think, well, that's okay, you know, it's an interesting concept. Once again, like John Wick, I saw the film and it was just blew me out of the water with expectations. Like, seriously, like, this movie, the acting, some of the performances in this film are Oscar worthy. Let me just put that out there right now. Just this, and I know the saddest thing is I know none of these actors are going to get Oscars for this because it's the Oscars, you know. I mean, when they won't even give Leonardo DiCaprio an Oscar, what makes you think they're going to give any of the people in this movie Oscars, even though they totally deserve it? But yeah, the ending was really good. I really dug it, and it was just really good, honestly. I mean, to me at least, it's very hard to make a movie that's entirely set on a train, like, really fascinating and fast-paced. But Snowpiercer did that, and it did it in spades. So there was that, and Snowpiercer was just really damn good altogether. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. When people said this film was the Empire Strikes Back equivalent of the Planet of the Apes franchise, they weren't kidding. Like, this movie was so emotional. The performances in this film were great. Let me say one thing that made Dawn of the Planet of the Apes immensely better over its prequel, over the first movie, Rise. One big thing I didn't like about Rise. I did like Rise. I thought it was a good film. But one thing I really didn't like about Rise was how everyone except James Franco and James Franco's family, how everyone else acted in that movie towards the monkeys was cartoonishly over the top, like evil. Like it was ridiculous. Like it was laughable at points. How like ridiculously evil they were just so we feel bad for the monkeys, so when they make their escape we're cheering them on. I'm not a big monkey person, so I was kinda like I didn't give a shit about either side really. But that is nowhere to be seen in this movie. Like every single human performance in this film was great. You know, you really feel like the emotion, like how they're scared and how they're angry at the apes for completely logical reasons. Like even the asshole character in this film, who is just a dick for the sake of because we needed a villain other than just the other villain, which I will not spoil. But even him, he has a point. Like the monkeys, because of the simian flu, basically destroyed humanity. So he has a perfectly reasonable reason why he has to be mad at the monkeys. Like that makes total sense to me. And I feel like he could have gone about it in a better way? Yes. But still, that just goes to show how much more well written the human characters in this movie were as opposed to the first movie. On top of that, the action was just insane. That battle scene with the monkeys and the guns and the horses, oh my god, it's just insane. So yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes ranking in at number 2. Now, before I list off number 1, I want to list some runner-ups, because there were so many good films this year, I would just feel guilty if I didn't list some of these other ones. So, next we have X-Men Days of Future Past. I wasn't a big X-Men guy, and I still have yet to see the first 2 Bryan Singer X-Men films. I'm going to get around to that eventually, but as of right now, the only X-Men films I've seen were this and Origins. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag, to say the least, but this was really damn good, and I just really loved the way, the story, the action, all of it was just really good, and I just really dug the hell out of it. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know a lot of people didn't like this film, for some reason, and it does have flaws, I will admit. In the podcast I did with it, with T. Quentin 1, I don't agree with that. In fact, if I ever make a list of my top 10 mistakes, that'll be on there, definitely, because the rating I gave was just ludicrous. Like, I don't give ratings in general, but it was a weird time. Anyway, regardless, I still enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Like, it was just fun. It was awesome seeing Spider-Man be Spider-Man. And I don't care what people say, Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man was really good. Like, I really just enjoyed his performance as Spider-Man. And it was actually really good. It was actually a really nice sequel to the first one, which I also really liked. So next we have Oculus. Man, what a surprise Oculus was. I mean, trailers are everything. Like, trailers, even though you can't really trust them, I do. It's just a sad, unfortunate thing. And the trailer for Oculus, because of the way modern horror movies, a lot of modern horror movies turn out to be sucky, I didn't put a lot of faith into Oculus, and then I saw it, and it scared the shit out of me. Like, the only other modern horror movie I can think of that scared me, or at least freaked me out as bad, was as Oculus, was Sinister, and that came out a couple years ago. 2012, I think. Yeah, I think it was. But yeah, Oculus. I mean, when you hear the plot, it's about, oh, a killer mirror. How can that be scary? Trust me, it is. It is really damn scary. I mean, some of the stuff in this movie just, oh god, nightmare fuel, straight up. So yeah, Oculus is there. Next, we have Godzilla. Now, originally I was planning on putting Godzilla on this list, but when I really took into consideration all the other films that were on this list, I had to put Godzilla at the runner-up spot. Now, I actually really did enjoy Godzilla. Like, I knew a lot of people were bitching about there not being enough Godzilla, and yeah, I would have enjoyed if there was a little bit more, but I was satisfied with what we saw. I was totally okay with that. Like, seriously, just totally fine with the amount of Godzilla we were given. Plus, that final fight scene, you cannot even if people who hated this movie, you cannot deny that final fight scene was fucking awesome. You cannot deny that. And seeing the atomic breath, oh my god, that's just, god. Seriously, that was awesome. Honestly. But yeah, Godzilla lands at the runners-up spot because there's just so many other great movies this year. Then Godzilla, but it's still good regardless. And finally, we have Edge of Tomorrow. Now, I wanted so bad to put Edge of Tomorrow on the list. In fact, consider Edge of Tomorrow on the invisible 6th slot, because Edge of Tomorrow is just that good. Now, I understand that in comparison to some of the other films on this list, Edge of Tomorrow might not rank up, but from what it did, from what it represents, how it was the first good adaptation, American adaptation of what is primarily a Japanese concept. Like, we've never been able to do that properly. Dragon Ball Evolution, anyone? Seriously, that's an atrocity against film. But Edge of Tomorrow was actually really damn good. The first of its kind, I think. On top of that, the performances were really good. I really liked the action. The story, the story is the story. But it was still good regardless, and I really enjoyed it. So Edge of Tomorrow lands at the invisible number 6 slot, but is technically on the runners-up slot. And finally, at the end of it all, we have number 1. Drumroll, please. We have, at number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy. Seeing this film in theater was just a blast. I'm so excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that's coming out, I think, later, either in 2015 or 2016. I don't remember, but maybe even in 2017. I don't know, but it's coming out. There is going to be a sequel, so I'm super excited for that. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, this movie was funny as hell. I mean, it is just like seriously, this is literally Marvel's equivalent of just throwing something at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like, in this movie alone, we have a hero from the 80s, we have a talking raccoon, and a fucking tree. And that movie that you get from that just turns out to be awesome. This fucking soundtrack was awesome. The action was great. I really liked the characters. They were really funny. James Gunn, who is also known for directing films like Slither, like, just great on you for this one, man. Like, this movie was just funny as hell, just a blast seeing this film in the theaters. Can't say anything better about Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's that. And so that concludes my best movies of the year list, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is the first official list I think I've ever made, and if you guys enjoy it, I hope you did. Thumbs up the video, do all that good stuff, rate, subscribe, comment, whatever. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed 2014, 2015 shaping up to be a great year. I really hope to enjoy it. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mr. Chaotic Dude, formerly known as the Other Chaos, and I will see you next time. Take care.